All right, let's dive right in. If you're a medical graduate and you've got your sights set on a residency in the United Arab Emirates, you already know there's one big exam standing in your way. So today, we're going to lay out a clear roadmap for that exact challenge, the EMREE exam.
I mean, who isn't, right? You can probably picture yourself training in these incredible, state-of-the-art hospitals in Dubai or Abu Dhabi, just building an amazing career. That is the dream. But, turning that dream into reality, well, that takes a very specific plan.
And it really all boils down to this one exam. The Emirates Medical Residency Entrance Examination, or EMREE as everyone calls it, is the official gatekeeper. Think of it as the one common yardstick that's used to measure every single applicant. Doesn't matter where you're from in the world.
And that's exactly what we're here to do. Give you that clear, practical roadmap. We're going to break down what the EMREE is, how it's structured, and most importantly, give you a real strategy to absolutely conquer it.
Okay, so before we get into all the study hacks and strategies, we first need to understand the landscape. Let's really establish what this exam is and why it is the absolute cornerstone of your UAE residency application.
So at its heart, the EMREE is the national standard. Its whole purpose is to create a totally level playing field. It allows the UAE's health authorities to compare you, someone from, say, India, with another applicant from Egypt or the UK, all using a single unified test.
So, who actually has to sit for this thing? Well, to put it simply, if you're a final year med student or a recent grad and you're applying for residency programs under any of the major authorities like the DOH in Abu Dhabi or the DHA in Dubai, then yeah, the EMRE is a mandatory step for you.
Okay, so now that we've got the why covered, let's get into the what. Seriously, understanding the structure of this exam is the absolute first step. This is how you start studying smart, not just hard.
All right, let's look at the nuts and bolts. The exam itself is pretty straightforward. It's a computer-based test, you'll get about 120 multiple-choice questions, and you've got around 3 hours to do it. But look at that last point, no negative marking. That is huge! Strategically, that means you attempt every single question. No exceptions. Even if it's an educated guess, you answer it.
Now this, right here, this is your treasure map for studying. As you can clearly see, the exam is super heavily weighted towards what we call the Big Five clinical specialties: internal medicine, surgery, pediatrics, and OBGYN, with family medicine right up there too. This literally tells you exactly where to focus the lion's share of your prep time.
Okay, so let's get really practical. How do we take all this info about the exam structure and turn it into a powerful, high-yield study plan that actually works? This is where the real work begins. A 12-week timeline is a fantastic framework to use. You're going to start by mapping out your schedule, obviously focusing on those high-weighted subjects we just talked about. By about week 4, you should be getting into timed question blocks to really build up that mental stamina. And the big goal here is to complete at least 2, maybe even 3, full mock exams before the real deal. This isn't a sprint, you guys. It's a very structured marathon.
This 4-step loop, this is your new best friend. It has to be an active process. You read a topic, you summarize it in your own notes, then you immediately apply that knowledge by solving clinical questions. And then, and this is the most critical part, you review the explanations for both the right and the wrong answers to really deepen your understanding. Just repeat this loop over and over. You won't just be memorizing facts, you'll be building that crucial clinical reasoning skill.
Knowing what to do is really only half the battle. The other half is knowing what not to do. So let's talk about some of the most common mistakes that can totally derail even the smartest candidates.
Probably the single biggest mistake you can make is studying for the EMRE like you're still back in med school. That old style of just passively memorizing facts, it just won't cut it here. This exam tests your clinical reasoning. That means you have to shift your brain into active problem-solving mode with a focused plan and time simulations that feel just like the real thing.
And here are a few more traps to watch out for. First, don't ignore the smaller subjects, like psychiatry. Those points can absolutely make or break your score. Second, please avoid resource overload. Just stick to 1 or 2 high-quality question banks. And finally, and this is a big one, remember that the EMRE score, while vital, is just one part of a much bigger picture that includes your CV and how you perform in your interviews.
And that brings us to the final leg of this whole journey. You've prepared, you've taken the exam, you've got your score. So now what? How do you actually convert that number into a residency seat?
I really need you to hear this. Your score is a critical piece of the puzzle, but it is not the only piece.
A winning application is a complete package. What you do after the exam can be what truly sets you apart from all the other candidates who also scored well. So, here's your action plan for after the exam. First, get all your documents in order for the application portals, like TANSEQ for the Abu Dhabi programs. Next, tailor your CV. Don't just list what you did, describe what you learned and accomplished. Then, you have to actively practice for your interviews. And finally, be strategic. Sometimes being a little flexible with your specialty choices can be the very thing that gets you in the door. Look, the EMREE is a challenge, there's no doubt about it. But it's a predictable one. With a clear plan, some real disciplined effort, and the right strategy, it's not just a passable exam, it's an absolutely conquerable one. The roadmap is right here in front of you. So the only question left is, are you ready to take that first step?